A judge blocks the execution of the only woman on federal death row. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, the Kansas woman who was scheduled to die by lethal injection today is granted a stay of execution. The decision came just hours before Lisa Montgomery of Melbourne, Kansas, was scheduled to die by lethal injection in Indiana. The 52-year-old was sentenced to death in 2008 by a Missouri jury for the 2004 murder of a pregnant woman. In 2004, Montgomery strangled Stinnett, who was 8 months pregnant, cut out her fetus and tried to pass the baby off as her own. In the process of her crime, Montgomery had taken the baby, and the baby survived and it was returned to its father. The judge's order for a stay of execution is pending a competency hearing. Prosecutors have already filed a notice to appeal. President Trump is headed to the border today to talk about his immigration policies. He's kicking off a last-minute push to tout the accomplishments he's had while in office. The president this morning spoke to reporters for the first time since the assault on the U.S. Capitol. He addressed efforts to remove him from office and pinned anger in the country on Democrats. House Democrats accused the president of inciting an insurrection. The House is expected to vote later today on a resolution urging Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office. But with the VP unlikely to take that action, House Democrats are planning a vote as early as tomorrow on articles of impeachment. The FBI is warning of armed protests planned at all 50 state capitals leading up to the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden. The warning comes as the acting Homeland Security Secretary steps down. Deborah Alfarone reports from Capitol Hill.
The abrupt resignation of acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf is drawing sharp criticism from security experts.
The resignation of the Homeland Security Secretary 9 days before a national security special event that he himself is responsible for is both disgraceful and irresponsible.
Wolf's resignation comes less than a week after he pledged to remain in office, and as the FBI warns of armed protests planned at all 50 state capitals leading up to the inauguration. This morning, Michigan's Attorney General tweeted that the state capitol in Lansing is not safe. 10,000 National Guard troops are already in D.C. or on their way, and that number could go up to 15,000. The Washington Monument has closed, and the Park Service says it may shut down other public areas in the coming days. This 7-foot non-scalable fence is one of the new security measures. It surrounds the U.S. Capitol, and it's meant to keep disruptors from getting near the buildings. President Trump approved D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser's request for an emergency declaration. She's urging people to stay home.
Our goals right now are to encourage Americans to participate virtually and to protect the District of Columbia from a repeat of the violent insurrection experienced at the Capitol.
President-elect Joe Biden says he's still planning to take the oath of office on the west front of the Capitol. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
CBS News senior national security analyst Fran Townsend, who served as Homeland Security advisor to President George W. Bush, says with the increased security measures, she thinks this will be the safest and most secure inauguration we've ever seen. Well, it's still chilly, but it's actually turning out to be a rather nice day outside. Michael Hayslip joins us with a first look at the forecast.
I think the big difference from today to yesterday, we are going to be a little bit warmer, but we had to hold off so long yesterday until we saw the sunshine, where today it just came out right from the get-go. And we're going to be able to enjoy that, Tanya, not only through the afternoon, but into the nighttime and tomorrow as well. Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin, where, like Tanya said, it's a little chilly out there because we have a wind chill in effect. Only feels like 41 right now in Joplin. Now, the temperature is actually 46. Now, these are true temps, not wind chill numbers. 45 in Independence, 46 in Carthage, and 45 in Miami. Skywatch storm tracker clear as a bell. Look at that big high pressure system just making the clouds surround the entire Midwest. And so we'll go up into the low 50s here later on this afternoon. Say our peak heating hours really between about 3 and 4. So we'll even throw up a couple 53s here, I think, by the time it's all said and done. As we work through future track, we are eyeballing a system off the Pacific Northwest, but you know, it's going to take a little bit to get over the Rockies and get to us. So we're not only going to stay on the clear side for today, but actually have a little bit of a January heat wave, if you will, for tomorrow. Now, I have been emphasizing the reason I kept that panel on Wednesday as chilly because overnight lows still do drop down below freezing. So let's make sure that we got the coat ready for tomorrow, but I guarantee you're probably going to shed it if you're out and about tomorrow afternoon. Coming up here in just a little bit, Tanya, we'll go ahead and break down that system, the Pacific Northwest. The old atmospheric river that you and I were talking about, exactly what it is and where it's coming from.
Gotta get excited about the atmospheric river.
I'm a geek, and I love it.
We all do. Thanks, Michael. Well, Monday marked the return of lawmakers to the Kansas State House for the 2021 legislative session. The new session marks new leadership in the Senate, with Andover area Republican Senator Ty Masterson taking over the role of Senate President and McPherson Republican Rick Wilburn as Vice President. Lenexa Democrat Senator Dinah Sykes will serve as Senate Minority Leader, replacing Anthony Hensley, who lost his race for re-election. One of the first items on the agenda this session will be the Kansas Emergency Management Act. Many provisions in the act are set to expire January 26th.
Healthcare provisions that allow telehealth, so you don't have to go to your doctor for some procedures. They can talk to you through your computers, your phones. Some out-of-state license, so especially in rural Kansas, we're having doctors and medical professionals from other states come in and provide services. Those things need to stay in place for sure.
Meanwhile, in the House, newly elected Kansas City Democrat Aaron Coleman recently reached an agreement with a woman who accused him of stalking. It ended a court order against him, but a spokesman for the House Minority Leader Tom Sawyer says there will still be a complaint filed against Coleman this week to try to oust him from the post. Well, it may be another month before we know if commercial flights will resume from the Joplin Airport to Chicago. Those flights ended in March of last year. Joplin Airport manager Steve Stockham says the Department of Transportation will decide next month whether a new airline will provide Joplin service. But Stockham says even after a decision is made, it could be another 120 days before that service begins. Stratford County Court's building is officially underway. The 80,000 square foot building will be at 7th and Pearl in Joplin, across the street from the existing building. Demolition to the parking lot started Friday, with South Pearl Avenue from 6th to 7th Streets now closed permanently. One of the biggest challenges for the drivers during the 2-year construction project will be finding a place to park when they have court business. Once the new building is completed, the old courts building will be torn down to create parking. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, taking the party to the house. We show you how a bar on wheels is bringing the celebration to homes and small gatherings in Ohio. And later, we're making cheesy baked chicken in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Well, just because you're stuck at home doesn't mean you can't still enjoy a few drinks. And thanks to a new mobile bar concept in Ohio, it's now easier than ever. Clancy Burke introduces us to the owner of Cincy Bubbles.
Why order drinks at a bar when you can get them delivered straight to your door? This right here is Cincy Bubbles, a brand new mobile bar here in Cincinnati, and this right here is proof of the fact that you can still have fun at home. Cincy Bubbles can travel pretty much anywhere here in the tri-state. And how it works is Heather Vargo, who is the owner, will go straight to your door. She'll park either in your driveway or on the street, and that is where the party will begin. You will book a reservation ahead of time, and then you'll pay for all of the alcohol and drinks ahead of time as well. Another thing that is cost dependent is how many people you have, and then also how many hours Heather is spending at your home. Heather had actually thought of this idea 3 or 4 years ago, but the pandemic gave her the push she really needed, because keep in mind, 3 or 4 years ago, staying home was not nearly as cool or as popular as it is now. So Heather is really just trying to spice things up for people who have been staying at home for far too long. And by the way, as you look at this trailer, you're probably thinking it is beautiful, but it didn't always look like that. It took a lot of hard work.
It was a piece of junk when we first got it. My fiance could not see the vision at all, but I was just like, I see it, and now he's just like fully on board. He loves it. He thinks it's amazing, and we're excited.
What a cool concept. Right now, Cincy Bubbles is still a dry bar, while their alcohol permit is pending. Still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
If coming up with new ways to make chicken week after week is challenging for you, then we've got an idea that'll make you a kitchen hero.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Hope you find a very good reason to take advantage of what are just absolutely perfect mid-January temperatures, whole lot of sunshine. You know, we've been talking about our average daily high, and here we are sitting at the noon hour, and we're already seeing 46s in CJ and Carthage. Just a little bit cooler right there across the state line in Girard, but really all being said, like I said, it's a great day to get some fresh air. Wind hasn't been too bad. We knew it was going to increase. Now, we have seen anywhere from about 25 to 27 mile per hour gusts coming out of Joplin Regional Airport. Earlier this morning, we were already sitting at double digits, and it was one of those things that we knew it was going to increase as we got into the afternoon. At the same point in time, with the dropping humidity, we're still able to avoid any high wind warnings, any burn bans, or things of that nature. But, however, if you are so inclined, please know that with that humidity continuing to drop, just keep a close eye on everything. Now seeing 20 miles per hour also in Chanute and in Independence. Skywatch Storm Tracker looking absolutely gorgeous because as we update the high pressure system from where it was yesterday, we're actually going to see a little bit of movement, and what it does is carve out that complete area throughout the Midwest, surrounded by cloud cover, but absolutely no troubles for us as that winter storm that we saw yesterday head toward the mid-Atlantic. It's now broken up and completely gone, but we've been talking about the low pressure coming off the Pacific Northwest, and what we have is what's called an atmospheric river. So we talk about the old precipitable water map. Remember, that's if you had 5-gallon bucket that you stood in, how much water goes straight above you. Well, look at how far this takes off. We're talking on the other side of Hawaii right there, and this is why it's called an atmospheric river. It just takes all that precipitation and shoves it up against the west coast. Now, this is going to cause massive flooding concerns, and also, too, they're going to have the threat of mudslides, especially in those scarred areas from the wildfires of this summer. Right now, the biggest report we've got 1.3 inches, and while that may not seem like a lot, got to remember that's from about 9:30 our time. So that's 1.3 inches just in less than 3 hours, and it's just going to continue to rain. Now, this is also the low pressure system that we're keeping our eyes on by the time we get to Thursday. But for the time being, back-to-back days of glorious sunshine and temperatures that just cannot be beat. We'll go about 50. We're not going to be surprised if I don't see a 52, 53 by the time we get into the peak afternoon hours. But then overnight, once again, because of the clear skies, cloud cover, we lose that heat. We will be back down around the freezing mark with our wind chills dipping into the 20s. Just one of those things where every morning it's going to be chilly. By the time we get to the afternoon, you're not even going to need the coat. Now, Future Track's going to show you just how clear we are. And this is including cloud cover. Like I said, just back-to-back days of perfect weather. So when we transition to the national map, here's where we talk about the atmospheric river, the low pressure system on the Pacific Northwest, and what it means for us. This thing is going to dip in on Thursday. Now, while it starts off as snow here on the Rockies, by the time it moves through central Kansas, back into rain. So that's kind of the nice aspect of it. Now, we may see some flurries on Friday, but for the most part, Thursday is going to start as rain. But the other thing it's going to do is it drops down to the southeast right here. It's going to suck all of this cold air out of Canada, and we're going to have a cold front on our hands that does have the possibility of transitioning some of this by the time we get to the weekend. And so that's why when we throw up the panels on Saturday and Sunday here, we do see a little bit of snow. It's not going to be anything major. We're not talking about winter storm capabilities, but we could even throw that into Monday for Martin Luther King Day as well.
All right. Quick a little bit of everything there, but I'm going to enjoy tomorrow, that's for sure.
And enjoy today, too. Like I said, take every advantage of just a gorgeous January afternoon.
There you go. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Corporal Kenneth Whelan in the U.S. Army. The soldier from St. Paul, Kansas, joined the military in 1955. He was stationed in Germany until 1957 and earned a number of marksman honors. To Corporal Kenneth Whelan, we thank you, our four-state hero. Tired of serving chicken breasts the same old way? Well, then you'll love today's recipe. Howard shows us how to make his cheesy baked chicken in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
I think it's common for many of us to get stumped when it comes to finding new ways to cook chicken. So to change things up a bit, we're making a super easy and cheddar cheesy chicken that I think you're going to love. In fact, it's so good, I'm betting it'll become one of your new weeknight favorites. What do you say we get started? We begin by making a cracker crumb coating by combining crushed cheese crackers with sesame seeds, fresh chopped parsley, and a little salt and pepper. The cheese crackers are our secret ingredient, which gives this dish its big cheddar taste. Now, after trimming some chicken breasts, we dip them in melted butter and then into the cheesy crumb mixture. These go onto a baking sheet and into the oven until the chicken is cooked through and the coating is nice and crisp. This may sound basic, but the taste is out of this world. And don't plan on having any leftovers, because when you serve this crunchy, cheesy chicken as is, or with some honey mustard dressing for dipping, they're gonna gobble them up. To get the recipe for our cheesy baked chicken, simply visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a secret cheesy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4 state market prices.
Just stepped outside. I think my hair is indicative of that as we now see our wind gusts picking up anywhere from 25 to about 27 miles per hour, but at the same point in time feeding us temperatures that are going to cruise into the low 50s, even warmer tomorrow as we approach 60. Now over to Dow with a look at what's coming up tonight at 5.
Well, a lot coming up at 5. Electric vehicles are a big focus at the Consumer Electronics Show. GM announced it's going to have 30 electric vehicles available in the next 5 years. We're looking at the changes automakers are planning. Plus, with concerns over possible armed protests at all 50 state capitals, we're going to look at how local law enforcement officials respond when security concerns are raised in the area. And a former Webb City teacher pleads guilty to child molestation. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.